now.
Drivers, to your cars.
Welcome, race fans, to another DRTV event. Tonight we're out here at the Pocono Race of Champions track in the Whelen mod with the TDR Racing League Series. Tonight's race is going to be sponsored by Cam2, the Race of Champions, Sunoco Race Fuels, and NRT Game Servers. Up in the booth tonight, you got myself, Rich Patton, and my buddy Todd Stanton here with me. Todd, what do you think we're getting ready to get into here?
Well, Pocono ROC is a real hard track to get around. I've been around this track a couple of times. Pocono is a flat track. Corners are real different. This back straightaway is real short, and it's going to be a tire eater. I've known this from just racing around. It's a quarter-mile oval. Pit road speed's 55 miles an hour. The turns are banked at 8 degrees, but it's flat once you go out there on the straightaway. It's going to mean a lot of tire issues here this evening. You got to watch how your entrance is going to be into the corner and how you're going to come off in order to make sure you keep your wheels on and keep it going straight.
10-4, I hear that. Well, right now, while we're chatting up and getting everything under control up here in the booth, we got our racers out there qualifying right now. See if we can't flip over there and see if we can see some times. It's looking like right now your current pole sitter is Steve Melson with a 24.091, followed closely by Daryl Pace, Dave Melson, Kelly Horner, and Spanky's, also known as Frank Suggs. That's going to round out our top 5 right now. We'll see as that changes. They got a few more minutes here left in qualifying before we get going. Got both Melsons here tonight, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, both Melsons are here this evening, along with another Melson. So a Melson family, Jason Melson, also showing up to make some laps. First race here with the TDR Whelen Modified Series. Also, another note to add, our current points leader, Frank Divins, his trailer is not there in the infield. He had some trouble, and he will not make it this evening.
Yeah, that's definitely going to mess him up in the points tonight. It looks like probably going to have a little bit of a shakeup. I don't know. He's got a pretty decent lead. 21 points above Daryl Pace right now in the points, but he's got quite a few people looking to get a hold of him. This might hurt him tonight.
Yeah, it seems how they were battling up there for points. He's got 3 wins in a row. He had kind of a bounty on his head, and then he don't show up. Some of these racers really wanted to knock him off his pedestal here this evening, but he's not here, so they can't do that. So we'll have to look forward to the next race to see if Frank Dibbins can be dethroned from winning the races that he does show up to.
Yeah, 10-4. Last week we had James Collins out of the race, and that kind of hurt him pretty bad in points. He's sitting back in 6th place right now, 43 points back from the leader, so he's going to have some ground to make up tonight as well.
Yeah, let's give you your points standings right now as they sit. Frank Dibbins is first with 136 points. Darrell Pace is second with 21. He's 21 points back. Phil Lucas Jr., he's 32 points back in third. Fourth is Carson Krenz, 34 points back. Fifth is Keith Patton, also known as Bryson out there on the Speedway, or DPH for many of you that know him. He's 37 points back. James Collins, 6th, 43 points back. Matt Lewinsky, 44 points back in 7th. 8th is Joe Archer with 46 points back. Kelly Horner, who did not show up last week, had some technical issues, but he did get a provisional. That dropped him all the way back to 9th. He's 50 points out. And right now, 10th in points is Jeremy Jeffries, and Jeremy Jeffries is not here this evening also.
So we're definitely looking at a couple drivers being out, a couple drivers out last week, so we should get a little bit of a points change tonight. We'll just have to see how this field plays out. We got a pretty full field here. Not sure of the total car count. I thought we saw 13 or 14 cars earlier, but I'm not sure yet. We'll check on that. You got a count for us, Todd?
It's more looking up towards the 16, 17 car range, barring ourselves from the lineup. It looks like almost 17 cars here this evening. A lot better car count than we had last week. It shows you that this series is growing, the TDR Whelen Modified Series. Great series to get involved in, guys. If you go over to TDR-racing.com, or .net, excuse me, you can get involved in racing here on Saturday nights with us and get your name out there, get some of your sponsors out there. It's a great series to be at.
10-4. I went ahead and double checked our numbers. It looks like we should be sitting right on 17 if all the drivers in the lineup tonight are on the track. So it's going to be a pretty full field.
Yeah, definitely going to be a full field here this evening, Rich. Going to see we've seen some pretty good green flag racing. These guys are going to get strung out, I believe, and we're going to see some good green flag racing. Of course, in every short track event, you're going to have yellows, and that's going to happen. But these guys are starting to get used to each other out there on the speedway and starting to know what each other does, and I think we'll see some good racing here this evening. Go through our qualifying lineup right now. Starting on the pole is the number 95 of Steve Melson. He timed in at a 24.091. His dancer partner outside, second place in points right now, the number 17 of Darrell Pace. Inside row number 2 is the number 28 of Dave Melson, making his return back here. He's starting in third. Fourth is the number 43, that's Kelly Horner, also known as TWA Gunner. Fifth starting position is the number 41, that's Spanky's. Outside of him is making his debut here in the TDR Whelen Modified Series. That's the number 34. That's Dean Woodward. Inside row number 4, starting in that 7th starting position, that's the number 20. That's Matt Lewinsky. Outside of him is the number 1 in that 8th starting position. That is Reaper, but he is also known as Steve Gordon. Inside row number 5, that's the number 38, another newcomer here this evening. That's Jason Melson. Outside of him, another newcomer here this evening, the number 9 of Randy Schneider. Inside row number 5, starting in that 11th starting position, that is the number 5, that's the machine, Joe Archer. His dancing partner to the outside, that's the 101 of Martin Karch. Inside row number 7 is the 069 of Keith Patton. Outside of him will be the number 14 in the 14th starting position. That is Hot Rod, also known as Mike Ross. Only 12 took qualifying time, so these guys that I've been going down through, Keith Patton, Hot Rod, James Collins, Phil Lucas Jr., did not take time this evening, so that's going to round out your field. And looks like they didn't get enough practice, so that's why they're going to start in the rear. Flipping through, looking at some of the practice times as Steve Melson and Dave Melson, the family affair, is up front right now in the happy hour standings. Steve Melson ran a 23.914. That's flying around here. Dave Melson's a 24.082, so he's right there tucked in behind Steve Melson. Martin Karch right there with a 24.186. Dean Woodward, fourth in that number 34 with a 24.218. Fifth is a number 38 of Jason Melson. So top 5 fastest times, and Happy Hour has 3 Melsons in there.
Yeah, I hear that as the red flag comes out. Looks like that everybody's going to be getting off the track and getting on the grid, lined up, getting ready to go green flag racing, and it looks like Happy Hour is over. So the cars are now getting out there on the track. We're getting real close to getting this thing underway.
Yeah, calls going down to the drivers. Guys to look out for here this evening. Daryl Pace, he's had a couple of good runs. He's looking for his first TDR Whelen Modified win. He was leading, I believe, with 10 laps to go last week, and then he had a race incident with another driver, and that allowed Frank Divins to pull off that victory. But also, can't forget the 95. He was really dominant the first race of the season here at the TDR Whelen Modified Series, and he could not pull off the victory. He ended up finishing third in a late race charge to the front, so keep your eyes out on that number 95, and they happen to both be on the front row, so they might be able to check out. You can't forget out that number 43 of Kelly Horner. Martin Karch is starting towards the back. James Collins, he's in the top 10 in points. He did not make the show last week, but he is here this evening, so we'll have to see what these drivers do. This is a tough little track, Rich.
Oh, definitely. These flat corners are really going to make these guys start paying attention when they're getting into these corners. As they start their motors up and they're heading off around to make their pace lap, it's getting kind of loud out here.
It is getting loud. Always when the earth shakes and you hear these ground pounding, earth shaking modifieds out there on the speedway, all these fans are going to be in the stands and just getting ready to cheer as they're getting ready to go green flag racing. Right now they're entering corner number 3. You have the front row right now, Steve Melson and the number 17 getting ready to start them out as they come out of corner number 4. The pace car takes that turn down to pit road. We're getting ready to go green flag racing. And the green's out. Steve Melson and the number 17 of Daryl Pace are side by side going into corner 1. They're going to have to brake real hard and let off the gas. Melson has your early race advantage over Daryl Pace. Here comes the number 28 of Dave Melson. He peeked to the inside, but the 17 of Daryl Pace is going to hold on. Tough track to get through. These guys are going to have to be really conscious of their tires. I'm going to say tires all night long because flat tracks normally wear tires also. They have to watch the brakes, so that's going to heat up their tires. As Steve Melson starting to pull away from the 17 of Daryl Pace, but Dave Melson right there on the rear bumper of Pace, he's going to peek down to the inside. Pace on the outside, but the number 28 way down there on the apron, he's not going to be able to pull off that pass right now. Everybody's staying single file except for these battle for the second and third position. Here comes the 28 back down to the inside. He's going to take over the second position. Dave Melson now second. Third is going to be Daryl Pace.
Yeah, I tell you, I was watching these guys out in practice, and I'm wondering how long it's going to be before somebody catches that pit wall right there in turn 4. They cut through that apron and then try to straighten it out going down that straightaways. That's a tough little corner right there.
It is. I've seen people actually miss that corner, Rich, and go up over that guardrail and flip. It's a tough corner. If you miss your mark in that corner, you're going to either go to the wall, spin out and cause a big wreck, or just end your night completely.
Yeah, most definitely. As we're watching from a distance here, watch the field start to get spread out. It looks like Melson's getting one heck of a lead on the rest of this crew out here.
Yeah, Steve Melson right now has a 1.462 advantage over Dave Melson. Spanky's is sitting third with the number 41. Daryl Pace is fourth in that 17 machine. Fifth is the number 34. That's Dean Woodward. Woodward was right on the rear bumper of the number 17 of Daryl Pace, but Pace has now fallen victim to the number 34 machine and the 43 of Kelly Horner as Pace has fallen all the way back to the 11th position, Rich.
Yeah, he's definitely lost a lot of ground up there. Maybe he burned his tires up too much. Maybe he knows that there's a lot of laps to go still. We're only on lap 6 of 100 right now, so we got a lot to go. See a lot of smoke in turn 4. I'm not sure what's going on down there, if somebody got tagged up or something. We're still green flag racing. I don't see anybody turn around. It looks like everybody's pretty much spread out running their own lines right now, so maybe it's going to be a patience game tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a patience game as the number 1 Reaper looks down to the inside of the 43 of Kelly Horner. He's going to take over that position, I believe, because he has the preferred line going into number 1, and it's going to still be side by side, but Reaper's going to have that advantage. Kelly Horner is going to drop back to that 6th position in that number 43 machine.
Oh, we've got some cars around down here. It looks like 3 or 4, and there's a bunch of them getting tangled up. Good thing that these cars aren't going too fast through these corners. We'll have to go back and see if we can see what actually took place there.
Product of short track racing, Rich, this evening. Looks like, to me, it looks like the 1 of Reaper slowed down, different braking points, different gassing points, and it looks like the number 43 got into the back of him, had nowhere to go. I mean, you have to make split-second decisions to try to get around these drivers, especially on a short track. And Kelly Horner was in there, and so wasn't the 69 of Keith Patton. Darrell Pace was involved. There was 5 cars involved there, Rich. Going to throw it down to Rich down there in the replay booth and see what he has for us.
Well, sorry about that, folks. There's a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we're back on track. As you can see, we're kind of looking from behind of these cars as they're getting ready to go into this corner. And we're watching the number 1 and the 43. It looks like the 43 got into the back of the 1, and that's caused him to spin around right in front of everybody. And everybody else just kind of trying to figure out how to get through this big mess, and it's just too late for anybody to make any decisions that's going to change anything there. So a lot of cars get banged up and bumped up, basically due to the 43 hitting the 1 in the rear end. I think that about sums that one up.
Yeah, that's a tough break for all the cars involved. Leaders did make pit stops, as now you see the second group. They're going down pit road. The 43 of Kelly Horner, the 9 of Randy Schneider, the 20 of Matt Lewinsky. A lot of these cars going down pit road, they're getting 4 tires. They're filling their cars up with Sunoco Racing fuel, getting ready to go back there out there on the speedway, waiting for the lineup to reset so we know who your race leader is. Right now, I believe it's going to be the number 95 back at the helms, and that it looks like it's going to be the number 95 of Steve Melson back at the helms. The 28 is going to be second again, as everybody has made pit stops. Dave Melson should be sitting in that second spot. We'll have to see this time as we're going across the line right now. Scoring's a little slow this evening. Martin Karch looks like he's up to the 3rd position. 4th would be the 34 of Dean Woodward. 5th, the 069 of Keith Patton. 6th, the 38 of Jason Melson. 7th would be the 55 of James Collins. 8th, the number 1 of Steve Gordon, also known as Reaper. 9th would be the 5 of Joe Archer. 5th, 10th would be the 17 of Darrell Pace. 11th, the 41 of Spankies. 12th, the 48 of Phil LaCrasse Jr. 13th would be the 14 of Mike Ross, 14th the 20 of Matt Lewinsky, 15th the 9 of Randy Schneider, and rounding out your field, I believe he got a penalty for his contact with the number 1. That's the 43 of Kelly Horner.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this father-son Melson team up front, see how they race each other, whether they keep it clean, try to make some ground on this crowd, or if Dave is going to go after the other Melson here and see if we got some head-on competition going on up front.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as these guys are 2 good competitors. I think the family stuff goes out the window when you put them helmets on. strap in and go racing. I've raced with a few of my family members before, and I want to win that race just as bad as the next person. And my family member's in the way. I think I'm going to make a challenge for it. And I'm not afraid to bumper grind, and I think these guys feel the same way.
Yeah, I hear that. I think they'll go for it too. I got a lot of racing to go still. We're on lap 13 of 100, so we're going to have to see how this one plays out and see if we can keep this flag green and get some green flag pit stops possibly later on in this show. Pace car's off the track as the Melson team brings them around turn 4. They're looking for that green flag from the flag stand. And there it is, green flag, and they're underway.
Melson takes the advantage into corner number 1. It looks like the 101 of Martin Karch is going to challenge the 28 of Dave Melson on the high side there momentarily. But Martin backs out of it. The 28 of Dave Melson falls back into second. Third still is the number 101 of Martin Karch. Fourth is the 34 of Dean Woodward. He's known to save tires, fuel, all kinds of things, so it's going to be interesting to see what the 34 does. The 101 of Martin Karch again, looking to the high side of Melson, trying to break up that family affair up front. As yellow flag is going to fly on the field once again, Rich. It's looking like it might be the number 5 was slow on the field. Well, it looks like the beginning part of that was started by the 069 of Keith Patton. It looked like he got loose, and then it collected the 5 of Joe Archer. I may be wrong. It might not be Keith Patton. No, it's not Keith Patton. Some of these cars looking alike out there on the speedway. It might be the 55 who initially spun out there, and it was the 55 of James Callan. Looks like he ran it into the corner a little hard and got loose there. We're going to have to see what Rich sees in the replay here momentarily. Reset your field. Steve Melson, your current race leader. Dave Melson, second. Third is the 101 of Martin Karch. Fourth, the 34 of Dean Woodward. Fifth, the 069 of Keith Patton. Sixth would be the 38 of Jason Melson. Seventh, the 1 of Steve Gordon. Eighth would be the 41 of Frank Suggs. Ninth would be the 14 of Mike Ross. And 10th is Phil Lacasse Jr. I'm going to throw it down to Rich down there in his trailer to see what happened in that replay.
Yeah, most definitely, Todd. I'm down here looking at what's going on, and it looks like it is the 55. Looks like he got a little bit loose, just couldn't save it. Luckily enough, he did it right in front of Joe Archer. Joe Archer was paying attention just well enough to miss him, but that got his car upset as well, and I believe Joe went up to tap the wall. Looks like everybody else was able to get through that. A couple other cars squirming around, but doesn't look like any real major damage. Only the 5 and the 55 seem to be involved. Oh, Darrell Pace also might have backed it into the wall there, so he might have a little bit of damage on the rear of that car, but I think that one's about summing that caution up for us. So there you have it, race fans. The 55 back out on the track. Everybody seems to be back out on the track. Nobody seems to be dead in the water yet. 2 cautions down. Looks like we're 17 laps in. So we'll have to play this out, see how it goes, and see if we can get some more green flag racing goes as these cars get settled in after they cycle through the pit stops and get back under control behind that pace car.
I believe I have the number 34, driver of the number 34, Dean Woodward, on the radio. Dean, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right now, a few cautions out there on the speedway, but you have any strategy you'd like to share with us? What's going on out there for you?
I'm going to kind of run what I'm doing now, kind of stay with the leaders and try to stay out of any wrecks.
Well, your first race here at the TDR Whelen Modified Series. A lot of different drivers out there that you probably haven't raced with. Have you seen any different maneuvers? Anything you got to learn from these guys from other leagues?
A couple of like 1 and 2 spot right now. I haven't really ran with that much, but I'm hoping to get up there and run with them some.
Do you have anything for the Belson guys?
What's that?
Do you have anything for your front 2?
Won't really know until it gets further in, maybe halfway or something. I think I might.
Well, Dean, anybody else you would like to thank?
I thank TDR for hosting this, Dino, Dirt Race TV, TWA Racing, House Auto Parts.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's driver the number 34, Dean Woodward. I'm going to let you get back to race controls, and good luck this evening.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Pace car is pulling down on the apron. He's going to pull into pits this time by it. It looks like the Melsons are going to be looking for the green flag coming off of turn 4 once again with Martin Karch breathing down their back. As they come on the front stretch, the green flag flies, and we are back under green flag racing.
As they barrel down into corner 1, that's a tricky corner over there. Make sure you don't hit that pit wall. Is it 101 of Martin Karch? He peeked to the outside again of Dave Melson, but he's not going to be able to put a pole maneuver on him. The 34 of Dean Woodward sits there solidly in 4th, who we just spoke to. The 069 of Keith Patton, he's had a few good runs here this evening. So it looks like Martin Karch trying that high side, trying to get that to work as everybody seems to be glued to the bottom.
Yeah, I tell you, I was watching them go through that turn 4, coming off of turn 3, going through that apron, and there's a little bit of difference in angle of the track versus the apron, so I'm wondering if that's going to cause some problems later on. These guys get a little anxious and get down to that apron too much and upset those cars' balance.
Yeah, Rich, it looks like we're going to have to page Dr. Green once again. It looks like the 41 of Spanky's, also known as Frank Suggs, he went around all by himself. As we were talking about corner 1, that's a tricky corner, and around goes Spanky's. So pretty much your running order stayed the same after the last yellow. Steve Melson, your leader. Dave Melson, 2nd. 3rd, Martin Karch. 4th, Dean Woodward. 5th, the 069 of Keith Patton. 6th, still Jason Melson. 7th, the 1 of Reaper. 8th is the 14 of Hot Rod, also known as Mike Ross. I'm going to throw it down to the trailer once again with Rich Patton with the replay.
10-4, we're back in the booth again, and we're watching the 41 of Frank Suggs. He's actually a few cars back, but we've got it back this far for you just to see what happens. As he turns into turn 1, it looks like he's dirt carring it, trying to miss that wall. You're about to see what I'm talking about. Here we go. He gets that car sideways around, and just comes around from him, whips right around that wall, and it just slowly goes around like a dancing move. Luckily enough, he took it up towards the wall. Everybody else was able to get around him low on the, on the low side. So no real contact with anything. Just going to have to replace some tires now, it looks like. Back to you, Todd.
Yeah, and tires are going to be an issue all night as long as we get some green flag racing. But as soon as you spin out, you're going to flat spot them tires. You're going to have to go down pit road, get 4 tires. And he's going to have to start in the rear anyways because of the spin rule. You bring out a yellow, you end up going, you have to do a speed through the pits and get an end of the longest line. There's a 3-spin rule in effect this evening, 3 yellow rule, I should say. So three spins or 3 cautions that you have caused, you have to park it. But other than that, right now we have nobody in danger of that this evening so far. But right now we are in 23 laps of 100. Your current race leader still Steve Melson. Some of these back guys did take some tires to try to get a little bit of better strategy on the rest of the field.
Yeah, I hear that. I think tires are going to be important. Right now, currently looking at the standings in the group, it looks like the pace lights are still on. We might get one more lap out of these guys. Currently only 1 car showing laps down in 16th place. Currently the number 5 of Joe Archer is currently 2 laps down. I think, Todd, you got Joe on the radio?
Yeah, Joe Archer, this is Todd up in the announcer's booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy of you guys up there.
Joe, how difficult is this track out there? You're 2 laps down right now. It looks like you're struggling just a little bit, or was that some other issues?
I've been struggling a little bit, being loose and tied off, but I've had a driver going through my pit stalls that's really knocked me back, and I've also got a broken right hand, so I'm trying to drive with one hand.
Yeah, that's right. For those of you that don't know, we saw it in Facebook. Joe shared that he did some damage to his hand, so he's out there driving handicap, so more power to him. I hope he's able to do well out there, and Joe, hopefully you get those couple laps back with a lucky dog or something to get back in this thing. But don't do anything that's going to hurt that hand, buddy.
No, I'm definitely not going to. I'm lucky dog this time, so I should be able to get my lap back.
I can't imagine how tough that's for you, Joe. Anybody out there you'd like to thank this evening?
Yeah, I really want to thank my fiance Rochelle and everybody for putting up with everything I do, and it's been fun.
We'll let you get back to race controls there, Joe, and good luck this evening, and hopefully you can pull through being handicapped and all, and get up towards the front.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well, there you have it. As we're watching the number 5 of Joe Archer get around this track as he goes around the pace bar to earn one of those laps back. He got the waiver out. He was the lucky dog. He'll get back to the back of this pack, hopefully before they go green, and try to make up another lap throughout the rest of this race.
And it's going to be difficult, Rich, with just racing with one arm. Is you might have to have two hands on the steering wheel, but Joe's a tough guy, and I think he can do it. His green flag black out on the speedway. The number 95, once again, still at the helm. Martin Karch, again, peeking to the outside of that number 28 of Dave Melson, but he's not going to be able to pull it off into one. As again, it's flat. It's hard to get through corners 1 and 2. Also, 3 and 4 is a tough corners too. The 28 of Dave Melson right there on the rear bumper. Steve Melson's not getting away from Dave this time as much as he did before. Here comes the 101 of Martin Karch way up the track with the 101. He's going to lose some ground to the front too. Dean Woodward sitting there in that 4th spot. 5th right now is 069 of Keith Patton as they are still single file. Martin Karch really driving the wheels off that in the 101, and he gets together with the number 28 of Melson. Dave Melson and Martin Karch involved in an incident there, Rich.
Yeah, most definitely. The camera was right on them, too, when that happened. We're going to go back and look at that replay anyway as soon as we can get on there, but that was some intense driving. And I'll tell you, just a lap ago before that, I was watching the 28. I thought his left rear clipped that apron coming through 4 on that pit entrance wall. So I'm telling you, before the night's over, somebody's going to grab that wall and we're going to have a car out of the show.
Yeah, I believe there's probably will be a car out of the show hitting that pit wall, because that pit wall is right there as you come into that corner, and it's going to be tough as you see the 34 right now of, I believe it's Dean Woodward going down pit road. Yeah, Dean Woodward, he was running second. He's going to go down pit road, get 4 fresh tires. Dave Melson down to get service to his number 28 machine as he did spin around. He's going to have to change all 4 tires, get them flat spotted tires off the car. Jack is down. They're going around to the left side right now and jacking him up. He's going to get 4 fresh tires and he's going to be away. I believe the 069. No, it's the 55. Them cars look. No, it's the 069. The Keith Patton and the 55 look alike this evening. And 069 also went in for service. He was running in your top 5. I believe the replay is queued up down there in the trailer. Rich Patton has it for you.
Yeah, we're definitely watching the 101, and I believe it was the 28. Yeah, the 28 of Dave Melson. As you can see, the 101 is just going to get into the back of him a little bit going through this corner. It's going to flip him around and cause some issues. Unfortunately, that's going to hit. 28 comes back up and hits the 101 and puts him in front of another car, and there's a little bit more contact between Martin and another car, but it looks like everybody else may have gotten around it. So really the only 2 I think that got bad in that one's the 28 and the 101. As you can see back out on the track now, sorry Todd, we're watching the 101, who obviously is probably going to take the penalty. He's going to end up at the back of the longest line for causing that caution. That's basically the way it goes with this online league. You cause the caution, you take a penalty, go to the end of the longest line, and it looks like that's what Martin just done. Todd?
Going to reset your race order after pit stops. The number 95 is Steve Melson, your current race leader. He's still at the helm in that number 95 machine. Second would be the 43 of Kelly Horner. Third, Daryl Pace. Been running towards the back here in this early portion. He's now third with the 17 machine. Fourth, the 55 of James Collins. Fifth would be the 41 of Frank Suggs. Sixth is the number 20 of Matt Lewinsky. Seventh is the 069 of Keith Patton. Eighth is the 28 of Dave Melson. Ninth, the number 1 of Steve Gordon, also known as Reaper. And 10th right now is the 34 of Dean Woodward. It's going to be interesting to see how far he can make it up through the field. He's been running inside the top 5. So some of these guys are in the back right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how fast they can make it up towards the front. As right now, it looks like the outside's not working, as Martin Karch has been trying to make it work, and nobody else is going up there. So there's no rubber laid down.
Yeah, I hear that. And we've got some new drivers up towards the front in the 43 of Kelly Horner. He's pretty competitive with short track racing, and now he's on the back end of Melson. So maybe getting some new blood behind him might change things up a little bit. We've seen that the Melson family now has been broken up from 1 and 2. Pace car's got the lights out, so we should be getting ready to go green flag racing next time by.
The number 5 of Joe Archer back, getting his lap back. He's going to be on the tail end of the lead lap now. It's going to be interesting to see how Joe can fare, as now we have another driver down the lap. It's number 9 of Randy Schneider. But we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. The number 95 is Steve Melson on the outside. You see the lap car of the 9 of Randy Schneider down there on the bottom.
Yeah, that's going to be a little interesting agenda here going into turn 1. If that 9 stays up there with that leader, it's going to be interesting to see how the leader handles it.
Pace car pulls back out onto the track with the lights back on. It looks like we had a little bit of an incident there, as Joe Archer, I believe it was, trying to get his lap back. No, it wasn't Joe Archer. It looked like the 101 of Martin Karch and the 48 of Racer had some issues on the initial pace lap here before we went to green, and that caused the yellow again.
Well, good news is they're not going too many more laps. Pace car's got his lights back off as they head down the backstretch, so he should be pulling off once again in turn 4. Maybe this time we can get under green flag racing. We've had 4 cautions so far for 21 laps. We're currently on lap 34 of 100, so we got a little ways to go still. See if these guys can't get some green flag racing under their belts once they get spread out again.
Yeah, we've been having a little bit of trouble with yellow fever early on in the going, but I think that'll straighten out as soon as these guys get spread out. As the pace car takes that hard left-hand turn down the pit lane, get ready to go back to green flag racing. The 95 gets the green flag, and he's back at the helm with the 43 of Kelly Horner right there in that second spot.
And it looks like 1 and 2 have cleared the lap down car. The third car might have got around him as well, but that's going to open up the door for your front view as they start getting spread out. Everybody's still single file going into turn 3.
Yeah, they're dicing it up through the field, Rich, as I'm looking around and seeing what's going on, and they're dicing it up pretty good back there. It looks like they're trying to, the faster guys are trying to make their way to the front and try to catch this number 95 of Steve Melson right now, pulling out to almost a half a second, a little over a half a second lead over your second place running number 43 of Kelly Horner. Daryl Pace sitting there in third, looking to capitalize and try to get some points back on your current race points leader, Frank Divins, and that number 17 machine.
Yeah, most definitely. The muscle of the field tonight seems to be the 95 of Melson. A couple guys have been up there. It doesn't look like too many people can stay up on his bumper. It might be too early for them to be trying too hard, though. So I think we'll have to see how it pans out as we get deeper into this event.
Battle for the 4th position right now. Spanky's has it. The 28 of Dave Melson wants it. He's going to take over the 4th spot.
We've
Dave
got a
Melson
car around
on
the
a
front
tear
stretch.
up through the field as yellow flag's going to fly. As Rich said, there's a car around on the front stretch. Looks like some hard contact, Rich. There's going to be the 14 and the 1 involved. Looks like some hard contact. As Rich has that replay queued up for you race fans out there, let's see what happened.
Keeping our eye on the number 6 and the number 1. The number 1 of Reaper looks like he got a hold of the apron, got a little bit loose as he starts going through there, straightens it up, overcorrects just a little bit, and sends him sideways right into the 6. That's going to spin him around right in front of a couple cars. It looks like Mike Ross clipped his rear end a little bit. Looks like Mike Ross and the 1 of Reaper might have gotten the worst of that one tonight. Back to you, Todd.
Looking through, resetting the field once again. Steve Melson is your current race leader. The 43 of Kelly Horner, second. Third is the 17 of Darrell Pace. Fourth, the 28 of Steve Melson. Fifth is the 41 of Frank Suggs. Sixth, the 34 of Dean Woodward. Seventh is the 069 of Keith Patton. Eighth, 38 of Jason Melson. Ninth, the 14 of Hot Rod. 10th, the 48 of Racer X 48, also known as Phil Lucas Jr. Joe Archer is in your 11th position. He's came back from 2 laps down up to 11th. Good job, Joe, in the number 5. 12th is the number 20 of Matt Lewinsky. 13th is the number 1 of Reaper, who was involved in that yellow. 14th would be the 55 of James Collins. 15th, the 101 of Martin Karch. And 16th, 1 lap down. And I believe he wasn't involved in that incident, so he's going to get his lap back via Lucky Dog. The number 9 of Randy Schneider.
10-4. That looks like it's only going to put us 1 car or lap down. If Randy Snyder gets his lap back this time, everybody should be back on the lead lap and back in the hunt for this race if they can catch the 95, that is.
Yeah, the 95 looks like Frank Divins has looked in the past 3 races, 95 dominant here this evening at Pocono ROC. As I believe he's led pretty much all the laps in that machine.
10-4, I hear that. So we're going to have the 43 on his bumper as this we take the next green flag. But look at the 17. The 17 has made his way back up into 3rd spot. We knew Darrell was doing good earlier. He dropped back pretty far in the field. Not sure if he was saving some tires or what, but he looks like he's back up looking for some clean air. So we'll see if the 43 and the 17's got anything for the 95 this time around.
Another guy on a tear is the number 28. Was involved in a wreck. And he's made his way all the way back up to that 4th spot, Rich. He's trying to make it a family affair up front once again, but he's got some tough competitors in front of him this time, the 43 of Kelly Horner and the 17 of Darrell Pace. They're not going to let him by easy to try to track down Steve.
No, I hear that, and I'll tell you, I mean, you and I both have raced in several different, series, different leagues and whatnot. To me, this track seems a little more narrower than a lot of tracks that we normally run on. And with these flat corners and it being narrow in the straightaways, it's almost hard to stick with your run. You really got to watch coming off of these corners, not to mention who's behind you, just so you don't hit the wall outside, So as you can see, the lights on the pace car are out. Taking them around the corner, should follow down the backstretch. Pace car should be pulling off the track this next time going through turn 4. We should be getting ready to go green flag racing once again.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. Hopefully these guys can shake off this yellow fever, and the doctor gave the right elixir so we can have some green flag runs. 95 of Steve Melson's going to lead you back down to the green flag here momentarily as he's still following that pace car right now. Pace car is getting ready to go down pit road. Flagger does have that green flag in hand. He's waiting to throw this as he's kind of delayed, but he's waiting to throw it to that number 95 of Steve Melson. And Kelly Horner is your top 2. Let's see if Kelly Horner has anything for him this run. Green flag's out. We're back to racing. The number 95 of Steve Melson's going to charge down to the corner. Kelly Horner right there on his rear bumper this time, Rich.
Dave Melson wastes no time going down low. He's trying to get the inside line on the 17 of Darrell Pace, but is not able to get up in there. The 43 loses a car length to the 95 of Steve Melson. Looks like everybody calmed down a little bit, get back in a single file line, but it looked like we had a lot of races going on. And once again, the 28 just barely misses that inside wall.
Yeah, 28 is flirting with that inside wall. That might cause a little bit of damage if you hit that, but he's flirting with the inside wall. The 17 of Daryl Pace still holding on to third, but Dave Melson don't want to stay in fourth very long as he keeps peeking down to the inside of Daryl Pace. Trying to look through the field right now. The battle was momentarily going on between the 38 of Melson and the 34 of Dean Woodward. Melson, the number 38, that's Jason Melson of the Melson family, was trying, and it looks like Dean Woodward contact with the 38. Looks like 38 might have got back into the back of the 34 of Dean Woodward, and that's going to bring out the yellow, Rich.
Yeah, definitely. We had our main camera right on that. It looks like the 38 just hit Dean right in the rear end, and that spun him around. Wasn't sure if it was a checkup issue or whatnot, but the 38 definitely tagged him in the back end. We'll go back and catch that replay just to confirm, but it looks to me like watching the live action, that's what took place.
Remember, guys, that it's the 38's first race here at TDR, at the TDR Whelen Modified Series. It might even be his first race in a long time, as he did come with Stevie Melson and Dave Melson. As it looks like all of your leaders are going down pit road to get 4 tires. There's a few guys that are going to stay out to try to lead a lap and get one of them bonus points. But the number 95 is Steve Melson down there on pit road. He's going to get 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles and get ready to go back there on the speedway and go back to work. Going to throw it down to Rich once again with the replay. He's getting more TV time than I am.
I hear that, Todd. Here we are looking at the 34. Was it the 34? Oh, my mistake. Yes, 34 Dean Woodward and the 38 of Jason Melson going down into this corner. Looks like Melson's right on his back end. Dean might have lifted to go into the corner, and that's when Jason just got into the rear end of him and sent Dean around. Unfortunately, there's cars behind him also, as Melson comes up and slightly taps Dean again. Looks like Keith Patton might have tapped the back end of the 38 as well, coming to the stop. Looks like that's all that was involved. Probably Dean Woodward got the worst of that bit just by backing it into the wall, and some flat spots on those Hoosiers. Other than that, or Goodyears, whichever ones they're running. Other than that, it looks like that was our replay. Back to you, Todd.
Going to see if I can track down the driver of the number 43 machine of Kelly Horner on the radio. I'm going to see if I can track him down. Not sure if I'm going to be able to do that.
Well,
I have indeed tracked down the number 43 of Kelly Horner. Kelly Horner is Todd up in the replay, or up in the booth. See, I'm doing replay booth because Rich is getting more TV time than me. Tell us about what's going on out there, Kelly.
I don't even know why I'm here. I'm so sick.
You're driving the car ill, Kelly?
Yeah, big time ill.
Wow, so that's the second person out here. With Joe Archer's racing with a broken hand, got you down with the weather and all, so that's definitely tough and kind of hard to keep your head clear when you're running. So what are you thinking? You were up there looking at the leaders for a little bit. Do you think you got something for the Melsons later on throughout this event? They seem to be the class of the field right now.
Well, I think I can stick with them, but that's about as far as I can do. I can't get my and react in the corners like I should. I'm out of it.
10-4. Well, hopefully you're able to get some medication or something in you and get better soon and get your head back in the game like you normally are. We know you're pretty competitive on these short tracks. It's good to see you out here. Just tough that you're going through what you're going through with, buddy. I feel for you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I got it last night and it's been kicking my butt.
I hear that. Anybody you want to give a shout out to while we got you? Looks like we're probably going to be going green next time by.
What was that? My spotter was talking to me.
Oh, we don't want to interrupt the spotter. I was going to say, anybody you want to give a shout out before we let you go? Looks like we're going to take the green flag next time by.
Just thanking TDR for putting this on and having such a good time. I just wish I wasn't so sick and have a lot more fun.
10-4. Well, there you have it, race fans. Interview with Kelly Horner in the 43 tonight. Driving under the weather, but he's out here. Sometimes, Todd, you know, drivers do what they got to do. They got it in their blood. They just can't back out of it, you know.
I've seen that in 2 cases this evening. Somebody with a fractured arm or fractured hand, and then Kelly Horner racing under the weather. Green flag is back there on the speedway. Looks like Steve Melson is going to try to track down
Frank Suggs is your race leader right now.
Yeah, he didn't take a pit stop there that time. Frank Suggs, your current race leader. Steve Melson in the catbird seat. That's different for the number 95 machine, trying to get around the 41 of Spanky's. Right now, Spanky's holding his own.
Melson's going to look on the inside, and Spanky's is just running a decent line. It's not giving Steve anywhere to go on him right now. It's probably smart just to be patient to see if Suggs is going to make a mistake up there and open the door for him.
Yeah, Suggs is running a different line than the number 95 of Melson. Melson really down there in the corner as Suggs is up more towards the middle groove of the speedway as he enters the corner and through the corner. Here comes the 95 of Steve Melson. He's getting one whale of a run off the corners, but here comes Spanky's back there motoring. Because he's on the top side. He's going to have a little bit longer throttle response than the 95 of Melson.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see when they come out of turn 4. It's like Suggs is, we got one around out of turn 4. I believe Suggs took the caution that time. Oh, we're still green flag racing. Oh, 10-4. He must have got the yellow. So we are under yellow. We had some cars around on the front stretch or coming out of turn 4, it looked like. I really thought the 95 of Melson was going to make the move that time by if the caution didn't come back. So it's going to be interesting to see how long this lasts. Suggs may take a pit stop this time, though.
Yeah, not sure how long he wants to stay out there on them older tires. Melson has been the class of the field this evening in that number 95 machine, and he's on fresh tires. Yeah, I'm not sure if it would be wise for the number 41 to stay out, but it could be a good gamble. Maybe he was saving his stuff, Rich. Rich still looking through that replay, trying to get what happened. Looks like the 41 of Frank Suggs. He's going to go down pit road and get 4 fresh tires. That's going to turn over your lead back to the number 95 of Steve Melson. Kelly Horner is going to be running second. Dave Melson up to third in that number 28 machine. The 101 of Martin Karch should be fourth. Fifth should be the number 17 of Darrell Pace. Seventh should be the number 7 or the 34 of Dean Woodward. 8th is the 069 of Keith Patton. 9th would be the 38 of Jason Melson. And 10th would be the machine Archer in that number 5 machine. Going to throw it back down to Mr. TV Time himself, Patton.
Well, I'll tell you, I went back and was looking through this, and I just could not believe what I saw. As you can see, we're looking at the 14 of Mike Ross, otherwise known as Hot Rod. He does get a little bit solo loose in this apron, and he just drifts it right by that wall. I cannot believe he didn't hit that wall. But unfortunately, he's solo spinning right in front of a few other cars. It looks like everybody was able to get around him without too much damage as he goes spinning and smoking down the front stretch. I could not believe he missed that wall. That was some amazing driving by Mike Ross.
Mike Ross, one of the members over here at TDR Racing, at the TDR Racing League. He's been here for many, many years in that number 14 machine. He's one of the mainstays here at TDR, and like I said, guys, check out TDR-racing.net. It's a good league to get involved in. You can come race on Saturday nights, Whelens. You can race Sunday nights. Also, they have a Sunday night league. I believe it's the Indy Racing League cars. They are 2.0 gripped. They also race on Mondays and Tuesdays. Good racing over here at TDR.
Yeah, as we get back in the field and everybody gets lined back up following a pace car around, it looks like Steve Melson has made his way back to the lead, followed by Kelly Horner. Dave Melson is currently sitting in third in the 28. Martin Karch is going to be in the 101 in fourth place. 17th at Darrell Place is sitting in fifth place. Number 34, Dean Woodward, is now in sixth place. Keith Patton in his 069 is in seventh. Jason Melson, the third of the Melson family, sitting in eighth in the number 38. Joe Archer, the guy that was 2 laps down not too long ago, is now currently sitting in fifth place. So that's congratulations to Joe on getting things under control. And the 41 is going to round out your top 10 with Frank Suggs.
'11th is the 55 of James Collins. 12th, the number 9 of Randy Schneider. He was also a lap down, now back on the lead lap. Looks like the number 1 of Reaper is 13th. 14th, the 48 of Racer X48. And 15th, number 20 of Matt Lewinsky. 16th, and now retired from the event, looks to be the number 14 of Hot Rod. Maybe we'll be able to catch up with him a little bit later. Maybe if we have another yellow flag, we'll catch up with Hot Rod. Being retired from the event this evening. Looks like pace lights are out there on the pace car, Rich.
10-4. We should be going green flag as soon as this pace car decides to get out of the way. I'm going to take him down the backstretch, go through 3 and 4. He'll pull off the track in turn 4, and Melson's going to be looking at that flag stand.
Yeah, Melson once again out front. Has some clean air in front of him. Going to see what he can do and see if he can pull away like he has every single time. Kelly Horner says he can run with him. He don't think he has anything for him. Dave Melson. We've seen him right there with Steve Melson, but not sure if he has any damage to his car because he has been involved in a wreck. Flagger has green flag in hand. Green flag's waving, and we're back to racing here with the TDR Whelen Modified Series as they go down into corner 1, Rich.
Looks 95 goes off into number 3. Looks like he's got a couple car lengths on the rest of the field. He's slowly pulling it away, and again, he cuts that apron, goes right by that wall. The 28 again, right by that wall. I cannot believe those guys have not touched that wall yet.
A lot of practice out there. Kelly Horner gets sideways. He's going to go around and save it. Kelly Horner, no yellow flag. He saved it. He's got it back going straight in that number 43 machine. It looks like he might have had a little help there going up the track.
Oh, we do have one that just hit that wall. I didn't catch the number of him real quick, but we'll find him on our replays and let everybody know what happened. But it looks like one went head on into that pit entrance wall.
Well, it looks like Jason Melson in a 38. He got sideways before that wall, Rich. Jason, as we were talking about it, Jason Melson sideways, and he's going to hit the wall on the inside. We're going to make sure that that's what Rich has in the replay booth. But it looks like the 38 was involved all by himself. We're going to throw it back down to Mr. TV Time himself, Rich Patton. We have Tim the Toolman Taylor in Tool Time, so we got Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton.
Oh, Todd, you're making me laugh, buddy. You said it. It couldn't have been any better. The 38 is the one we're watching in the blue car there. He's going to catch the apron a little bit, get a little loose on the rear end, do a nice solo spin, pretty dancing move. Unfortunately, it's going to put him over there right by the wall. Didn't look like he hit the wall, backed into it just a tad, and maybe that's the part that we caught. So it doesn't look like any real damage, just flat spotted some tires. So hopefully Jason can get 4 new rubbers on that thing and get that thing back under control and get back into this race. Back to you, Todd.
Reset your field. Dave Melson now up to the second spot with that 28 machine, but your current leader still is the number 95 of Steve Melson. Again, Dave Melson in second. Third is the 101 of Martin Karch. Fourth is the 17 of Darrell Pace. Fifth is the 34 of Dean Woodward. He's been lurking around the top 5. It's going to be interesting to see what else he's got for these leaders. As he said, halfway through, he might have something. We'll have to see. Sixth right now to the number 41. He did hold his ground up there with the number 95. right behind him, but he's now sitting in their 6th spot. 7th, the number 5 of Joe Archer. 8th is a 55 of James Kellens. 9th is the number 9 of Randy Schneider. 10th is a 48 of Phil LaClasse Jr. He is sitting in their 10th spot right now as we got a couple cars now retired from the event. Looks like ignition box went on to number 1 of Steve Gordon, also known as Reaper, and also Jason Melson retired after hitting that wall. Rich, he had a wheel problem. Go figure.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. These wheeling cars, there's not a whole lot of anything to protect these wheels, so they do have to watch them. They're just out there in the open. They got those side rails and those bumpers, but that don't do a whole lot for them wheels sticking out. I tell you, Todd, I think the race on this restart is going to be between the 101 and the 17th. 101 of Martin Karch. He likes to go high. The 17 of Darrell Pace, I think he likes to run low. I think going into 1 and 2, I think these cars may get side by side, and we see a race for 3rd place. I think the top two cars, the Melsons, are probably going to keep it single file at least for a few laps.
Yeah, we've seen the 101 of Martin Karch peak high going into 1 on the 28 of Melson, and I think you're right, Rich. It's going to probably open the door for the 17 of Darrell Pace. Maybe even Dean Woodward stick his nose in there. We haven't seen 3 wide racing here this evening. I probably don't advise 3 wide. 2 wide is difficult enough right now.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I could not imagine them going 3 wide as they go down the front stretch this time by. Pace lights are out, so we should be seeing the green flag coming up. And I think I agree with you. I think the 34 of Dean Woodward's probably going to stick right on the bumper of Pace. And he may also get up there. It all is going to depend on what the 101 does going into those corners if he goes high again and opens that door. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, indeed. And you got Spanky's lurking right there. He's 6th right now. That's the 41 machine. He's going to look to capitalize too. I don't know. Does Dave Melson have anything for Steve Melson? We're going to have to see. We are right now on lap 66. We're going to come up on completing lap 67 of 100. Pace car makes that hard left-hand corner down to pit road. Green flag is getting ready to come out. Flagger has it. He's going to throw it. The 95 puts the hammer down, and he's going to pull to a car length advantage. Here comes Martin Karch. He didn't go to the high side. He's going to try the bottom there momentarily on the 28 of Dave Melson. He fooled us.
Yeah, he might be listening to our broadcast. I don't know. That didn't seem like his normal line, so never ceases to amaze me what's going to go out there. Looks like the 28's running in the middle or kind of high. He's kind of triangling that corner and trying to get that apron coming off of turn 4 as he's been doing so long tonight, almost catching that wall. I think 101's going to study him for a little bit to see, what the best way around him is going to be, because Martin, he's going to want to move up there as quick as he can.
Yeah, Martin Karch going to look. It looks like Melson's going to slip up the track. Martin Karch momentarily had the bottom groove open. Martin could not capitalize through corners 3 and 4. Yellow flag's going to be out there on the speedway once again, Rich. Looks like you're going to get some more TV time down there in the replay booth. But not sure who was involved in that. We're going to have to look through and see what happened. Looks like the 069 of Keith Patton was involved in that incident. I think he was the only one involved. There was a few people trying to. It looks like they jumbled up, and Keith Patton tried to get out of it so that way he didn't run into the back of him. It looks like he went all around by himself. Rich will have that replay here for us momentarily as he's scurrying down through there trying to find the best view for you, the race fans out there watching DRTV here this evening. And hopefully he's going to find that best view. And he's going to find it. So again, Mr. TV time, Rich Patton.
Well, here we are looking on the track, and yeah, I agree on who actually caused the caution, but I think the problem actually started ahead of time. We're keeping our eye on the number 9 and the 55, it looks like. They're going to touch a little bit in this corner, and that causes everybody to check up a little bit. And of course, the 34 behind him, Dean Woodward, I think he checks up, and the 69 goes to check up, loses the rear end, and it's going to give him a solo spin. You see those two connect there, causes a little bit of check up. The 43, that's Kelly Horner checks up right in front of Keith Patton, and Keith Patton is just going to lose control as the rear end gets loose, sends him down pit road, bounces it off the inside wall, and it looks like he is the only one that's going to get damage out of this. But it just goes to show you that you never know. I mean, things happen right in front of you, and sometimes, you just cannot react fast enough. As you can see, all those cars, they all had the right intentions going on, but because they're so close and they're all worried so much about moving forward, checking up causes this, especially with these flat corners.
Yeah, it's been definitely a tough race here at Pocono ROC in the TDR Whelen Modified Series. Again, we have another driver out, and it looks like another wheel off another car. The 55 of James Collins, wheel gone. His night is over in that 55 machine. Tough break for him as he didn't make the race last week, and another DNF. And we had a DNF start last week and a DNF this week. That's not good for the number 55 machine.
Yeah, and while we're still under caution, let's go ahead and take a look at those point standings. We know Frank Divins is our leader right now, sitting with 136. Darrell Pace currently in second. Darrell might be in the best place right now if he can keep his nose clean. With Divins being out, Darrell might gain some ground here. Of course, Racer X sitting in third right now, followed by Carson Krenz. We haven't heard anything about him tonight. I don't think he's even here tonight. Keith in fifth, as we saw, he was involved in that last one. And then James Collins in sixth. And with him being out of the race tonight, 43 points back already, this is going to hurt him.
Yeah, Matt Lewinsky is going to, I believe now, with him being out of the race, he's going to take over at least that sixth position from James Collins. He's having a pretty decent run. Matt, we haven't talked much about him, and he's been pretty consistent here over the last three races and trying to get up towards the front. And we haven't talked much about him, but in that number 20 machine, but he's having a good series yet so far.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. Joe Archer and Kelly Horner also could take over James Collins' place. They're only just a few points behind him right now. And if Collins is out already, we could see him drop a good 4 places back. Oh, and we've got some bumping and banging going on in the backstretch right in front of our live camera. Got quite a few cars spun around. There's probably some aggravation going on out there right now as they try to get them all straightened up. That's probably going to delay our green flag a little bit. Not sure what took place there.
Looks like an accordion effect once again. It looks like it started with the number 9 of Randy Schneider. Might have had a check up for the 5 in front of him. Not sure. Not gonna say completely. But it started right where that number 9 was, and it looked like everybody else tried to check up, and they just all hit each other.
Yeah, most definitely. So now the 101 is going to be looking at the 65. 101, Martin Kart's currently second place. He's followed very closely behind with Dean Woodward. And then, of course, Darrell Pace currently sitting in fourth place. He's right up there in the mix again. So it's going to be really interesting to see what these 3 cars do behind Steve Melson.
Yeah, for those of you wondering where the 28 of Dave Melson went, he went pit side, get 4 fresh tires. It'll be interesting to see how fast he can make it up through the field. He's been a car on the mission. His pace car does go down pit road. Green flag is getting ready to come out. Green flag does come out. This time Melson has a different challenger in the form of the 101 of Martin Karch. He's going to try it to the high side of the 95. It's going to get a little loose as the tires are still a little cold. Martin Kart's going to settle into that second spot. Dean Woodward third, fourth, Darrell Pace, and fifth is the 41 of Spankies. It looks like we're going to make it through corner number 1 clean and green. Melson trying to keep the 101 of Martin Karch at bay. Martin Karch seems to be better in the middle, and the 95 seems to be better off on the Pocono ROC track here this evening. Here comes Martin Karch once again behind the number 95. They are bumper to bumper right now. Front bumper of Martin Karch will almost touch the number 95 of Steve Melson. Martin Karch in the 101 trying to drive the wheels off that machine right now. Dean Woodward sitting in third right now. Maybe hoping they're going to get together. Maybe not. I'm not sure. It's still early in the going, so he's in the catbird seat right now, sitting there watching this race up front for your lead.
I think what I see happening, I think Martin is studying how he's taken 3 and 4 because Martin is kind of laying back a little bit, watching what he does coming off those corners. And it looks to me like Martin's thinking about being on the high side, coming out low, and having the run to turn 1. So if it was me, I think I would do that because the 95, when he goes in low, he's really got to sweep out wide. And if there's somebody out there, it's going to lose his momentum because he's not going to be able to push it out that far. So it's going to be interesting to see how Martin handles this. But I definitely think Martin's studying him, and I think we're going to see something if this thing stays green.
Yeah, I think so. The 101 of Martin Karch, no slouch to victory lane. He's been in victory lane numerous times in many different leagues in that 101 machine. He's going to try back to the top side. He's going to get loose. Almost looks like he touched the 95 of Melson. He's putting tons of pressure on the 95. He hasn't seen that all night. And Martin trying to make him make a mistake.
10-4, we are keeping an eye on the chat box. I didn't mean to delay you guys. A little bit of smoke there, somebody getting loose, but just to let you know, we are on lap 81 of 100, so we are inside a lap, or 20 to go. Martin is still looking at the 95. Martin gets a little loose, does a solo spin right out of turn 4, right in front of everybody, bounces it off the wall. Looks like everybody's going to get around him, but that's going to bring out a caution.
Looks like Martin may have drove it beyond the tires and beyond everything, beyond the racetrack. Martin might have just outdrove himself there into the corner. He got loose and around he went with that number 101 machine. He was putting a ton of pressure on Steve Melson, and he might have burned up his tires a little quick.
Yeah, I think he was pushing it hard, working on the 95. I don't know if he burned his tires up, but most likely could have, but he definitely got that thing sideways. Again, I'm amazed that he missed that pit road wall entrance. I don't know how they're missing it.
Closing their eyes and saying, I'm going to miss that wall. That's my guess. That's my guess.
Todd. Oh, they've been cutting it so close, especially with skipping across that apron like that. It just amazes.
Yeah, this is a tough track. I'm surprised we haven't seen anybody go up over that guardrail. I've been up over that guardrail a time or two. I'm going to tell you that. Upside down too. I think I've also took somebody up over that guardrail racing on this track. That's why I sworn never to race on this track. Is I'm not very good at it, and these guys look 100% more professional than I do out in Pocono ROC. These guys really tearing it up on the track, and when they get green flag runs going, Rich, they're making it look really good and really easy. Going to go over your current race order. The number 95 of Steve Melson, your current race leader. The 34 of Dean Woodward, second. Third would be the 17 of Darrell Pace. Fourth, Kelly Horner. And fifth, the 28 of Dave Melson. I'm going to throw it back down to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, with your replay.
Yeah, we just pretty much saw it on the live view, but I just wanted everybody to make sure they got a good shot of this as the 101 just does a solo spin right through 3 and 4. Actually going into 4 right by the wall entrance. Not sure how he missed that. Luckily enough, it doesn't look like anybody touched him. He tapped the wall a little bit. Everybody else seems to get around him and all. So maybe no major damage. We'll have to check in with him maybe later and see how those right side wheels are doing. But if his wheels stay on, I think he'll be right back in this thing. Back to you, Todd.
Oh, another interesting thing is we have a new challenger for that race lead. It's going to be the 34 Dean Woodward behind the number 95 of Steve Melson. Pretty much tonight, everybody's throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Steve Melson, and nobody's been able to get by him. So we're going to have to see if 34 of Dean Woodward is up to that task, or maybe even the 17 of Darrell Pace. Kelly Horner says that he can stick with him. He may be lying to us. He may be able to go to the front. He's a little under the weather, driving in that 4th position right now. It's a good run for him in 4th.
Well, you know, Todd, we've raced with a bunch of these guys. We've watched these guys for a while. And, you know, I think it's just typical racer thinking. They're just not going to tell us everything. It's all a secret, right? So if they give away too much, then somebody might hear, somebody gets on the radio, somebody else knows, and then their whole plan is ruined. So I don't know if it's a superstitious thing or they're just being secretive. I don't think we've seen the end of this yet, and I think that 95 of Steve Melson still has some battles ahead of him if he wants to win this thing.
Yeah, the number 28 of Dave Melson, he's up to 5th. He's got fresh tires. He's got fresher tires than the 4 in front of him. Can he pull that off too? We're just gonna have to wait and see who has something for Stevie Melson. Maybe they're making sure that and saving stuff here for this final green flag run. Hopefully that's what it's going to be, and get around that number 95 of Steve Melson. If Steve Melson wins, he's been the dominant car all this evening, so it'd be good to see him win. As somebody else other than Frank Divins is going to win this evening because he did not make the long haul here to the Pocono ROC after that show, and pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn down to pit road. We're going to go back to green flag racing, Rich.
10-4, we're on lap 86. The green flag will take them to 87. We're getting down towards the end of this thing. As Melson looks at the flag stand, the green flag comes out. Melson gets a good 2-car length jump on everybody. He goes into the corner 1 nice and clean, followed by the 34 of Dean Woodward and the 17 of Darrell Pace. Darrell Pace is peeking on the outside a little bit of the 34, but it looks like he's going to get back in line.
Yeah, single file right now. The 34 of Dean Woodward sitting in that second spot. He's going to try to challenge, I believe, the number 95 of Steve Melson. Woodward testing him. Dean's usually pretty good with strategy. We'll see what he has for Melson. Melson right now trying to run away and hide in that number 95 machine. Here comes Darrell Pace. He's in 3rd spot. He'd like to get 2nd from the 34 of Dean Woodward.
Darrell Pace in the 17's got his hands full with the 28 behind him, looking each and every corner, trying to figure out how he's going to get by the 17. 17 goes high into this corner. It's going to open the door for the 28. 28 goes down low, skips by that wall again, and gets side by side with the 17 as they go down into turn 1.
They can continue to be side by side. Darrell Pace looks like he's going to back out of it. Let the 28 of Dave Melson go into 3rd spot. Dave Melson now going to set his sights on the 34 of Dean Woodward for 2nd. Steve Melson still continuing to be a race leader. Dave Melson right now the man on the move in that number 28 machine. He's ran down the 34 of Dean Woodward. He's only a car length and a half behind him. Remember, he's got fresh tires. Dean Woodward don't have his fresh tires. Yellow flag's going to fly out there on the speedway. Not sure who was involved in that incident, but I know there's yellow flag.
Yeah, 10-4. It looks like it's going to be the 20 of Matt Lewinsky and the 069 of Keith Patton. We're going to see if we can't get back down into the replay booth and see if we can see what exactly happened. But definitely looks like them two got together. Looks like in turn 1, I guess. We'll go back and verify that in just a moment.
Yeah, it's looking like they may have got together in turn 1. I'm not sure. Going to let Rich find that replay down there for you, the race fans out there. Got to remember to thank NRT Game Servers here for the server, the official server of the TDR Racing Whelen Modified League. Also got to thank TDR Racing League.net. They are the guys hosting this race this evening, the Whelen Modified Tour. Also got to thank, of course, DRTV. Again, if you guys want to broadcast from DRTV, go to drracing.com/DRTV. Get a hold of Rich. The broadcast schedule is filling up fast, but we can get your show in somewhere along the line. As Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton down there in his little bitty trailer, going to have the replay for you.
10-4, we're going to look at a different angle this time. We're looking at the helicopter view. We're watching the 20 and the 069 as they're heading down into the corner. And it looks like the 20 might have tried to get in there for position. Oh, he clips the wall, and that puts him up into the 069. So it looks like that wall finally got somebody. And unfortunately, Keith Patton was the target as the 20 ricochets off the wall right into his driver's door side. That's definitely going to cause some damage for both of those cars. Back to you, Todd.
Yeah, tough break for those guys, and hopefully they can make it back up through the field. You know, going to reset your field and your running order. Your current race leader is the number 95 of Steve Melson. Second, the 34 of Dean Woodward. Third is the number 28 of Dave Melson. He is the man on a mission. in that machine. He was way in the back with fresh tires. He's up to third. Fourth right now is the 17 of Daryl Pace. Fifth is the number 43 of Kelly Horner. Sixth is the number 41. That's Frank Suggs, also known as Spanky. Seventh, the 101 of Martin Karch. Eighth is the number 9 of Randy Schneider. Ninth, the 48 of Racer X 48, Phil LaClasse Jr. 10th, the Machine Joe Archer. He's having a solid run with being only able to race with one arm. 11th, the 069 of Keith Patton. 12th is the number 20 of Matt Lewinsky. 13th on the field with his wheel being gone. He's also out of the race, James Collins. 14th to 38 of Jason Melson also had wheel issues after contact with that pit road entrance there. That wall, that concrete wall, is always going to win. 15th, the 1 of Reaper, had ignition trouble and also retired from this event, the number 14 of Hot Rod. Right now these guys have completed 93 laps of 100. Looks like pace car lights are still on. Maybe we'll go back to green flag racing here momentarily. Gonna have to see what Dean Woodward has for Steve Melson, but you also got to watch out for that number 28 of Dave Melson. He's been a man on the move and been real quick. 17 Daryl Pace. Looks like if he stays right where he's at, he's going to gain a ton of points on Frank Divins, if not take over that points lead in that number 17 machine. Fifth is the 43 of Kelly Horner. He should be moving up in the point standings with a solid finish. So hopefully some of these guys, the standings are going to jumble up a little bit, and we know we're going to have a different winner here this evening.
Yeah, most definitely. As the pace car comes into turn 1 with this line of little ground pounders behind it, just making the ground rumble. These cars are amazing. Getting ready to go green flag next time by. Just want to give another shout out to our chat box folks out on YouTube watching us live. TDR Whelen Series broadcasts are a pre-scheduled thing, so just give you a heads up, we'd be more than willing to broadcast other races for you. It all has to do with scheduling, and pretty much that's why we're sitting here with the Whelens tonight, the TDRs, and sitting with them every Saturday night. They seem to be where DRTV was basically born and bred, and we're definitely farming out, doing a lot of other shows, but there's more information at drlracing.com as these guys take the green flag down the front stretch and they're off into turn 1.
Lap 95 of 100 has been completed. Steve Melson leads Dean Woodward into the corner. Dave Melson is going to be the guy to watch trying to get around the number 34 of Dean Woodward. The 17 of Daryl Pace looks like he's trying to make a maneuver around the 28. He's not going to be able to pull it off right now. We stay single file coming out of 4, Rich.
Yeah, as we're winding this down, they are now going into lap 97 of 100. That's going to give us 3 laps to go, basically. As you can see, the 95 is still the car out front, followed closely by the 34 of Dean Woodward, and the 28 of Dave Melson. Looking on the outside, he had to give up some ground, and it looks like the 17 is going to get up there under him, taps the 28 a little bit. They all keep it under control. The 17 is now in 3rd place, trying to track down the 34.
Dave Melson going to fall all the way back to that 6th position in that number 28 machine. Go ahead. When you get up out of the groove, yellow flag's going to fly. Looks like we're going to have a race for the win. Don't think we're going to go back to green flag racing. Right now, your race leader, the 95 is Steve Melson. Looks like, barring any engine trouble, out of 4, he's going to take the yellow flag, and I believe that's going to be the checkered flag for him if we finish under yellow, as we are on lap 98, and I think indeed we're going to finish under yellow. Dean Woodward 2nd. 3rd right now is the 17 of Daryl Pace. 4th, the 101 of Martin Karch. 5th would be Dave Melson. 6th, the 43 of Kelly Horner. 7th, the 48 of Racer X 48. 8th would be the number 5 of Joe Archer. 9th would be the 20 of Matt Lewinsky, and 10th would be the 98 of Randy Schneider, barring any penalties or any kind of blow up or run out of gas, and I don't think that's going to be an issue. Those results will be unofficial at the moment, as we have not received that checkered flag.
10-4, looks like they are taking the white flag, so this is going to be it. We're not going to get a restart. Not quite official standings, but up on the board you can see our current standings. That should be your final race leaders. We'll just have to see how it goes. 12 cautions tonight for 62 laps under caution out of a 100-lap race. Quite a bit. These guys some of them are still learning short track, so hopefully as this season gets going, we get a lot more green flag racing. At least, our fans do, and we hope we do too. So hopefully TDR gets this going, and we start seeing a lot more green flag racing in the Whelens. This can be a very competitive series. We just need to kind of hold them out and see how they do.
Retired from the event, also another guy falling victim to something different. The number 069 of Keith Patton, gearbox gone. Unlike a wheel, but his gearbox has terminated, and Keith Patton's going to be out of the race in 12th. Looks like they're going to get the checkered flag here under yellow. Steve Melson is going to be your race winner. Your official standings. The number 95 of Steve Melson, the winner. Dominant car all night, had a lot of yellows, and he stayed out front in that number 95 machine. Second, the 34 of Dean Woodward. Third would be the 17 of Darrell Pace. Fourth, the 28 of Dave Melson. Fifth, the 43 of Kelly Horner. Sixth would be the 48 of Phil Lucas Jr. He started in the back. Good run for the 48 machine, considering he didn't get much practice at all. Seventh would be the number 5 of the machine, Joe Archer. Running handicap tonight. That's a good solid finish for the number 5 machine. 8th would be the 20 of Matt Lewinsky. 9th would be the 9 of Randy Schneider. 10th would be the 41 of Frank Suggs. 11th would be the 101 of Martin Karch. He was retired from the event. 12th would be the 069 of Keith Patton, also retired. 13th would be the 55 of James Callens. 14th, the 38 of Jason Melson. Reaper finishes 15th, and 16th would be the 14 of Hot Rod Rich.
10-4 as we see the 95 of Steve Melson smoking up this front stretch. He's happy to get a win in this series, seeing how the series has been dominated recently. Good to see a new winner out here in this series. We can't even see his car because of the smoke. We're going to try to get these top 3 up here in the booth with us in just a moment to see if we can't get some interviews. So, Rich Patton here. I'm down here chasing down Darrell Pace in the 17. Darrell Pace, how are you doing tonight, buddy? How do you feel about this race?
Well, truthfully, I feel a little bit on the nervous side. Battling a ill-handling car pretty much from the get-go. Kind of wish I wouldn't have qualified or at least start up front, but that was kind of a fluke lap. But car felt, okay, but I think that was more driver than car, really.
At 10-4, we were watching you quite a bit tonight. You had a lot of battling going on for several different positions, kept yourself up in the top 5 or better most of the evening. Fell back a couple times, didn't look like too much was too bad. Not sure if you got involved in too many cautions or whatever, so it seemed like you kept your car pretty much clean, even though it was ill handling. Are you happy with this finish?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anytime I can finish top 5, especially at tracks I don't run very often, I'll definitely take it.
10-4. Well, Darrell, good luck. Congratulations on a third-place finish. This is a tough little track. Got a lot of nice muscle cars out there tonight. You were battling again, so it's a pretty good feat to finish this thing in third place. Congratulations, buddy. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to?
No, just thanks to TW, TDR, there we go, excuse me. DR, TV, all of you that make this possible. I appreciate it and just thankful to be here.
All right, well, there you have it, race fans. We're going to take this thing over to Todd. I believe Todd's got the 34, our second place finisher. Todd, you there?
Yeah, indeed. I'm down here with the driver of the number 34. That's Dean Woodward. Dean, whatever that was you just took a sip of. I want some of that later. But Dean, tell us a little bit about the race that unfolded here this evening for you.
Well, a real good race. I was running top 5 pretty much all night until got in a couple of early accidents. Then tried to work my way back up and finally got back up in there. I didn't have a whole lot of car left, to work with, but enough to nail down second place.
Yeah, it looks like you might have gambled there on when some of the other guys were taking pit stops and getting fresh tires, like the 28 of Dave Melson. It looked like he went down pit road, got fresh tires. He was behind you there momentarily. Were you worried about him with those fresh tires?
No, not so much worried. I mean, if he had a run, on the inside, I would let him go, or outside, wherever it might have been. But my right front was wearing down at the end. I'm sure a lot of other people were too. But
So tires were a major concern here tonight.
They were.
Well, we're going to take some time. Who would you like to thank here this evening, Dean?
I got to thank Rich Patton, Dirt Race TV for putting this on, TDR Racing for, running the race, and House Auto Parts, TWA Racing, and Moonshine.
Again, Dean, make sure you save some of that for me after the race. We're going to throw it down to Rich, who's caught up with our race winner, the driver of the number 95, Steve Melson.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through this crowd. He's got a lot of people down here congratulating him. Hold on a second. Let me get. Oh, excuse me. Steve, Rich here. Rich, need to do a last ending race interview, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, of course. Now
There's a party going on down here, man. This is a pretty good win. How do you feel?
oh, it feels pretty good having the both my teammates out here racing with me tonight. It's been a while since my brother's been able to strap himself into a car, so it's good to have him here with the team.
Yeah, definitely a good deal to see Jason out here with you guys. 3 Melsons out on the track at the same time. That's pretty impressive. I think the battle that I thought was going to unfold was going to be between you and Dave. Dave was on your bumper a lot tonight up towards the front, and some things didn't seem to go quite his way, and at some points he got further back in the pack. But I really thought that you two were going to go head-to-head. But tonight you definitely were the class act of the field. Did you think anybody had anything for you? I mean, you were so strong out there tonight.
Well, as you said, I think that my dad, the 28, Dave Nelson, had a little bit for me, and we were communicating back and forth on the team radio, and it appeared that he had some fresher tires, but he just couldn't get through there to the front, and he was the one I was worried about at the end. So
now, it's kind of rare that we get this situation where father and son can race head-to-head, first and second place. Can you answer me an honest question?
yeah, absolutely.
Do you give him any slack at all?
Absolutely not. I enjoy racing my dad. I'll give him tips and pointers on how to hit the marks and on every given track we race at, but there's no way I'm giving him an inch. If he's faster, he's faster. The only way he gets an inch is if I got some damage or he's got fresher tires.
10-4, you gotta love the family competition. Well, that's the answer I expected out of you, Steve. Congratulations on your top place finish tonight. You put on a heck of a show. You were the class of the field. Anybody out there you want to give a shout out to before we get off the air?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my teammates who were here tonight again, and want to say a thanks to you guys at DRTV for putting on the broadcast. You guys do an awesome job. And I want to thank the guys at TDR. They put together a great series with a great bunch of guys, and I look forward to coming back.
Well, 10-4, we hope we see you back also. As we try to do this every Saturday night with the TDR Racing Series. Kind of joined by the hips, I guess you might say. Got a good relationship going on with them. So I guess that's going to wrap it up for DRTV tonight. There's your race leader or race winner tonight, Steve Melson in the number 95. I'm Rich Patton, and Todd Stanton up in the booth. Todd, anybody you want to give a shout out to before we fall off the air?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Rich, for having me up here broadcasting DRTV. You got to thank TDR Racing League for having us here every Saturday night. Have a wonderful time, and I want to go catch up with that Woodward character. I think he's got something in that glass I might want.
All right, 10-4. I hear that, buddy. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and run our closing credits, and we will see our race fans next weekend. You guys stay tuned, and thanks for checking in. Good night, everybody.